I probably have a dozen whiteboards at this point. I actually don't even know. I started out with one that was mounted on the wall in my hallway. It's still there, but now I have a whole bunch. And one of my very favorite ones is this little small one and it fits inside my purse, which, I mean, one thing you can draw from this is I have a very large purse, but this one's really, really handy. And this way, if I'm doing something and someone says, can you put it on the whiteboard, or it's too bad you don't have your whiteboard here, I can pull it out, but it's lighter than carrying around like a legal pad. The first time I tried to use the whiteboard was with Jamie Dimon, asking him about a hypothetical budget and how someone could make ends meet. And actually the Republicans objected to the use of the whiteboard, and the chairwoman sustained their objection. It meant that I could not use the whiteboard. So I had to put it down, repeat things verbally. And I think that made it harder for Mr. Dimon to actually follow and harder to actually get an answer. So some committees, I think, see it as a welcome tool. I think other committees have seen it as a distraction, but both oversight and natural resources, where I'll be serving this year, are excited about the whiteboard coming. Mr. Ellis, do you know how much you personally received in bonuses over 2 years, the last 2 years, just because Celgene raised the price of this one drug, Revlimid?
I receive very generous compensation, but I don't know the exact number that you're referring to.
In fact, you personally received half a million dollars personally just by tripling the price of Revlimid. So to recap here, the drug didn't get any better. The cancer patients didn't get any better. You just got better at making money. I've always used whiteboards in my job, both to organize myself and keep a to-do list. It's very satisfying to erase the thing that you get done. But I've used them in the classrooms. At UCI, I was a professor of bankruptcy and commercial law, and there's a certain amount of adding and subtracting involved with the math of some of these debts and borrowing, and that's enough to freak law students out. So I think putting it on the board helps remind them that the math really is pretty simple. And so it's the same thing with CEOs. I want them on the same page. I think the biggest tactic they use is to say, could you repeat the question? Or I couldn't follow you. And they're basically chewing up your time and stalling. And so the whiteboard's a way to get not only the person I'm questioning on the same page, but also to help the American people follow along. The way I think about hearings is that they're opportunities to learn. That really is the purpose of a hearing. We're asking questions because we want answers. We're not supposed to be there to give speeches. There's plenty of other opportunities for politicians to give speeches. The goal here is to get answers. And so part of what I'm doing with the whiteboard is not only posing questions, but also taking down the answers. And so one of my favorite whiteboard moments is when I asked a CEO why he deserved to be paid so much. I'd like for you to please explain to the American public why you and 4 other executives deserve to pay yourselves tens of millions of dollars each year. I've got an empty whiteboard ready to take down your justifications.
Right, I recognize that that's a considerable sum of money. I would, of course, point out that I don't have any direct input to my compensation. That's derived by the board, and it's forward to a vote of the shareholders. Have overwhelmingly supported the compensation package for me and the other named executive officers.
Reclaiming my time, sir. Do you not know why you're getting hundreds of millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars a year? I have one here that we just made the other day. It's kind of coming off, but my kids are kind of acting like they're being very difficult at dinner time. And so we sat down and we had a little family meeting and we came up with these rules. And so my favorite saying here is they get too loud at dinner. And so my favorite saying here is turn your knob down. Like they just get way too rowdy at dinner. But the idea was not that they're just gonna say they're gonna do this thing, but that they're gonna do it. And so we have this in our dining room, and the other night at dinner, somebody banged on the table and they were to make their point, and my kids and I were all like, oh, number 2. The whiteboard is, I think, a way to get back to the facts and to the questions. And so, too many of my colleagues rely on sort of angry words or tones of voice. You use those things too, but the goal of the whiteboard is to say, here is the real problem. This drug price has gone from this dollar to this dollar to this dollar, or the person who's trying to live on this wage. Like, let's add it up. They can't make ends meet. So now that you can see what they're dealing with, what should we do about it? So it's just a way, I think, to sharpen the real focus of the question and take away some of the sort of actually, I think, artificial drama that can come from trying to create, kind of tension.